Good evening. Welcome back to another live segment. I hope you can all hear me well. If you're able to hear me, see me, put a like, a heart, something for me to know that you're able to hear me and see me. And tonight we have a brand new guest, a guest that I have never yet brought onto the show. I am actually looking very much forward to having this discussion, this live with him. In a second, I will tell you how I met my guest and what motivated me to invite him onto the show tonight. And again, if you can hear me and see me, put a heart, a like, let me know that you're able to see me and hear me well. And if you find this to be helpful, we're going to be talking about challenges, miracles, a lot of good stuff tonight. Share our video with others. Let your friends know that we have an amazing speaker joining us tonight for our live. And without further ado, I am going to invite him onto our show. Let's see. Here we go. I see he requested us. And let's see. Come on. And we're going to ask him to introduce himself and to tell us what he does and what motivates him. There you go. How are you, Yehoshua? And welcome to our show. This is a live Facebook segment, so welcome.
Thank
How
you.
are you feeling today?
Baruch Hashem. Can't complain. I'm doing very well. I'm very excited for tonight's show with you.
Can everybody hear Yehoshua? Because I have a tendency to speak very loud, but I'm not sure if they can hear you. So if everybody can hear him, put a heart, a like, let us know that you're able to hear him, see him. That's right. And I'm going to tell you what motivated me to actually have you on our show today. I'm going to take a little bit of I'm going to skip your introduction just for a quick moment.
No problem.
I was at an event where I was asked to host. And at that event, there were a bunch of books that they were distributing. And it was very interesting, and I was very, very curious to see what this book is about and who wrote the book. And I came across this book right over here called An Average Day. And then I see the title and the author says Yehoshua Joshua Baturov, which is you. And I said to myself, oh my God, this is a Bukharian guy, I don't know who you are yet, writing this book. And I was so impressed. I need you after the show to give me tips on how to write a book, because that's really on my bucket list of to-do things. I am so like, oh my God, for you to have accomplished such a big step in life, writing and publishing a book, bravo to you. I'm really, really inspired by you. Good job. Now tell us, please, who are you? What do you do? What's your passion? And then we will start and kick in our show.
I'm actually very flattered. I'm kind of blushing a little bit. I did not expect that you would tell everybody how you met me. I actually was wondering myself, why in the world would you even give me the time of day to speak to me? And so thanks for that. I appreciate it. What inspired me to do this book was because I just have a passion. I not so long ago became religious, maybe within 7 years ago. And I always have this ideology in my head is like, if I find happiness and I live amongst people who are not happy, what's the point of my happiness when the people around me are not happy? So I found religion to make me very happy, content with the life I live in, the hard life, the challenging life, ups and downs of my life. It was a time when my four grandparents died, maybe a year after each other, or maybe even 2 years, one after another. Grandpa, grandma, grandma, grandpa. Boom, 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 boom. And it was within that time where I was just questioning God, then why would you do this to me? At least give me a break. Give my parents a break for leaving avelut, leaving mourning, the state of mourning, just to like breathe a little bit. But my mom and my dad both went mourning one parent, a year and change later, mourning the second parent. So like I was always questioning Hashem, questioning God, and instead of blaming him, what I did was I blamed myself for not being able to see clearer. So bef-
Tell me again before your story is very, very amazing. But for anybody who's joining us right now that missed your introduction, what do you do?
um, as a job, I am a full-time teacher. I'm a Rebbe in the fourth grade of JIQ Gymnasia in the mornings, and I'm there until 5 o'clock teaching computers for the rest of the school. I'm a full-time teacher. I write books. I wrote a book. I'm working on writing more. Partnering with my wife, of course. She's here with us, and she's also a teacher in the same school, sixth grade Mora and sixth grade English teacher. And we're both just going on with life, spreading as much as we can in any possible way. My fourth grade students, I tell them that I will be a Rebbe forever, and not only to them, but to their parents as well. I give them a parsha sheet every week, talking to the parents, not to the students. And the parents reach out to me, and we become very good friends. They ask me questions in halakha, philosophy, any way possible how I can spread Torah, I do. Once a week, I give a shiur. Just like maybe a 10 to 20 minute long shiur on the parsha. This is my fourth year cycle. Baruch Hashem, I just celebrated my anniversary in Parshat Bereshit, first
Beautiful.
parsha of the Chumash, and we're going on our 4 year cycle.
So
Very
your whole
excited.
mission in life is to bring God's children closer to Him because
God,
of what you had to go through in life, and you're kind of like this awakening as to what's my
right,
purpose in the world, which you're going to share
right,
again. We're going to go
correct.
back to that story that you started off. It
Right,
is now you gave yourself up to you saying, I want to spread more light into the world. So you took this responsibility. I call it a responsibility to be an educator, to teach children, the fourth graders who are, you spend more time with them than the parents do. So you are
right,
going to bring this everlasting impression on these children, and you're going to instill with them, in them, the values of who they are, so that when they grow older, they're going to love not only learning Torah, but they're going to love each other, love themselves in the
correct.
process. You
And
go
I
around
keep
the
reminding
community to
them.
speak, correct?
Yes, I do.
So you're a speaker.
People don't hire me. I don't take money, but people ask me to come to speak in their events, in their yashivos, and maybe I'm a kohen, so I can't really go to funerals and speak, but I do go to their after yashivos and speak in their ceremonies, whatever. Bar mitzvahs sometimes, just a quick Dvar Torah, and I don't have much time to speak. They just give me 5 to 10 minutes, shake up the room, and I leave.
Okay, so shake up the room here. So you were saying, sorry that I cut you off. I just wanted everybody to understand where your background is and what you do. So you lost four grandparents within a cycle of 4 years. Your grandparents passed
Let's
away
say 5.
one after another. And I remember you telling me they weren't such old people, right? They were fairly young.
They didn't hit 70, neither of them. So, and as we know in the oral Torah, the Gemara tells us that 70 is a gift. They didn't get to see that gift, and they were suffering for 10 years prior to that. And yeah, it really did make it really, and they were very dear to me. Most of my life was living in their households, babysitting me and my brothers, my cousins. They were like the glue of the whole family. And when they left us, everything just fell apart. Like my heroes died before me, and it was that challenge that woke me up to see that life is not just a time to just waste. We actually have to make an impression, leave a footprint, is what they would always tell me. You're here to leave a footprint so your children can follow that same footprint. And the analogy that they gave me one time, my grandpa from my dad's side, my dad's dad, may he rest in peace. I would say in Bukharian, Doshat Beganed
Joshua
Beganed.
Magadet and Boshua.
That so it was you live in a forest, pave the way so your children can walk freely. And that's what I would like to do for the children after me, and for the Bukharians after me, being that I'm Bukharian. I would like to, what I was trying to say before, that I was telling my students that I will be your Rebbe forever. You will be, hopefully, one day I will get a WhatsApp flyer, and I say the name of the student. The name of the student is speaking tonight, $30 admission fee, and my children will go to that class.
Amen. That's beautiful.
So that's what I try to instill in them every day, so that they can understand that we're here to become future leaders.
What
And
did
that
you find? Sorry, but what did you find living with your grandparents? You said you were very close to your grandparents, and that's why when they passed away, it really hit you hard. You kind of really felt this void. I actually think it's a privilege for any young individual, I myself included. I also got a lot of time. I was lucky enough to have spent a lot of my personal time with my grandfather, who would come to my house a lot every Shabbat, and I would play chilik with him, shishtobesh with him, and I would, have a discussion on Shabbat about the kind of stories I read, and he would tell me a lot about King Solomon and King David and the war and how he got shot. He would show me the scars on his knees and how miraculously he survived. And I always found it to be like such a privilege in anybody that had that like special time and bonding to spend with the grandparents. Like if you come from a background where you got time to spend with your grandparent, I think it instills in the child this moral values and ethics about what life really is. Like we start to live at a young age, but have the wisdom of an elderly person because of all the stuff we have been surrounded with and the things that they taught us. And unfortunately, we don't see that happening as much anymore because the generations have changed. And even our parents, who are grandparents to our children, they're running around to work. They don't have the ability to be free like our grandparents did because they used to live, most of them, in our houses. So for somebody that spent a lot of time with grandparents, what lessons have you learned from them that are helping you right now in your own life?
Oh man, there was, I can't really say there's one, but because you said this, asked me this question, it's off the top of my head, all grandparents, I mean, all four of them basically told me is, you want to be happy, don't rely on a third party to make you happy. You are responsible of your own happiness. If somebody does not make you happy, do not fall into depression because of your reliance to that person or to that specific whatever it is, whether it could be a good song or a good time or a nice party or a good movie, TV show you watch. Don't expect things to get you happy. You yourself have to go and find it. And when they told me this, I was young and stupid. I didn't understand what they were talking about because, Bobo, I am happy.
Mhm. All right.
So, but as I got older, it's just like, wow, they were so right, because I'm a person who went to over 10 yeshivot to get to where I'm at today. Not because I was a terrible child, but because those yeshivot just did not fit my criteria of what I needed it to be. I was becoming religious, or they kicked me out because I wasn't religious enough, or because the school was too religious, and it was just all. And I went to over 10 of them. And the only way I found my happiness is when I decided. The only way I found religion actually is when I decided myself that I want to follow the path of God. That's it. And I went out. I see you have a very nice collection of library books. I too have a collection of library books, and I'm reading all the time. For over 10 years, I dedicated my life to just read Torah, read and listen to shiurs, and it just, I'm not even a licensed rabbi. I don't have a smicha that tells me that I'm licensed to be a rabbi or to answer halakha questions. But I'm very educated, Baruch Hashem, just because of the time that I've invested in myself. And the people around me, they don't see me advertising on Facebook or advertising who I am. I just literally do what I do for myself, and people just notice me. So then they bring me to their yeshivos, or my principals hire me to her schools, knowing my background, knowing my situation, and just it just went. And a person, and what they were telling me is, don't rely on your college degrees to get you to where you have to be.
True.
Don't rely on your money to get you where you want to get your happiness. Don't rely on your wife. Don't rely on anything. Invest in
Are you
yourself.
saying don't rely on your wife next to your wife?
She knows the same thing. She doesn't rely on me to get to where she has to be.
I'm
She
joking.
and I both invest in ourselves, invest in yourself, and you yourself will get to where you have to be just for the fact of investing in yourself.
So you were not religious. You came from a not religious background. So that's why for you, you've been to both sides of the spectrum. I remember when you sent me a little bit of a biography about yourself. When I tried to, I asked you, can you send me something talking about where your background is? There was a very, very crazy story that I read there about you that I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. There was a point in your life where you were involved in an accident. Tell me
Yes,
about that accident
I
and
was
how old
involved
you were.
in
Give me more, like, describe to me that day and what happened and what your family members thought would happen.
I was actually involved in a few accidents. Can you elaborate which one you
Yeah, there
was
was a car hit you, right?
or hit me? Okay, that one. That's a very famous one.
Yeah, so tell us more because I want to know more, and I don't think people watching know that story. So for somebody that's never heard that story, like, where were you going? How did it hit you? How did you not see this car coming? How fast was it going? Like, I want to know everything.
Okay, so you want, okay, all right. I didn't put this in detail. Um, I remember even telling you that story orally. I didn't even write it down in the book.
I read
Why?
it, I think, somewhere I read it. Maybe you told me. I just remember that story. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that story because I told it to you orally. I didn't write it down in my book because it's a story that I do not like speaking about. But since you brought it up, so here's what happened. I was 9 years old and I was exiting my school bus and to go home. This happened in front of my house. It was crazy because it was the day of the first more or less day, November 19th, my second birthday, what my dad says. It was the day of first daylight savings, and the street light right above the accident was not working for the past week. And it was in front of my house. The bus let me go, and the van behind the bus thought the bus just double parked, ran around me, hit me so hard. I flew 15 feet up in the air, fell, my shoes popped out of my sneakers popped out of my feet because the impact was so hard. Fell head first. I have a lot of hair, but you can see a scar building up.
I see it.
So and I was knocked out. I do not remember what happened that area of my life. This was what people was telling me what had happened. Rushed me to the hospital. Mom was flipping out because she was waiting for me to come home. And she was flipping out, didn't know what to do. People just called 911 or Hatala. I don't know which one came. Took me to Lutheran Hospital. Right away to a MRI CAT scan, and they saw that I have internal bleeding. Right away surgery to open up my head, to put a metal plate in there, staple it back up, and hope to God the surgery went well and I'll wake up because it took me about a few days to wake up. When I woke up, and this is what I remember, my family around me saying, "Doctors, he woke up. He woke up." And I fell back to sleep. I woke up again, and the doctors this time was there. And as soon as they saw me waking up, they pulled me out of my bed and put me on my feet to so I can walk. Now, it's an obvious question that I ask is like, don't they know I just came out of surgery? Why would they put me on my feet right away?
Hmm.
So the answer was that they didn't want me to completely forget how to walk because they knew I wasn't gonna walk for another while. So they put me on my feet just to get my feet, like, reminder of my feet to walk. As I was walking, crying in pain, it hurt so much. I saw a mirror on the door of a monster looking right back at me. They shaved my head bald. They didn't touch this part. Stapled, ripped up. You know when you bruise, it was all bruised up over here. When I looked at it, I was in complete silence. The doctors probably felt so stupid for leaving that mirror on the wall.
Mm.
So they just like put me back, and I couldn't speak. I couldn't I couldn't speak, I couldn't eat, I couldn't communicate. The only way for me my communication was like a baby. just cry. I even remember how they got me to speak again. It was 2 months. They put me in rehab, St. Mary's Rehabilitation Center, and trying to get me to talk. Speech therapist after speech therapist trying to get me to talk, and it just wouldn't come out, no matter how much I tried. So I was a kid. I loved the dogs. Loved dogs.
Wow.
They brought in a dog, and this dog I remember was wearing like a funny little football helmet, and he had like hands coming out holding onto a football, and I was like excited. I wanted to pet the dog. So they let the dog go a little bit on a leash. The dog came over to me, kind of like jumped on me. They yanked him back and kind of like teased me. And I was crying. I wanted to pet the dog. And they told me, Joshua, you want to pet the dog? Say that you want to pet the dog. And I said, it just wouldn't come out. They did it again. They teased me again. They probably did it like 4 times until I said, I want to pet the dog. So
Wow.
loud. Everybody was just like shocked. They let go of the leash, and the dog started like jumping on me, and I kept repeating it. I want to pet the dog. I want to pet the dog. I want to pet the dog. And like this, my speech just came back to me slowly by slowly. It came back to me. It was very squeaky, my voice, very squeaky, like a little child.
So you
But
were
it came
nine
back
years
to me.
old when this happened.
I was 9 years old when this happened. I was the exact age of my talmidim, of my students in my classroom. It was that exact age.
And you said it happened in November. What are the odds? I didn't know it happened in November, that we're actually in November right now.
Yes.
And Hashem is orchestrating, because we
Yes.
were supposed to do this show months ago, correct? You
Yeah.
reached out. We kind of spoke to each other about the book. I reached out to you, then we spoke, and I said, I want to get you on the show. But it didn't happen until today. Now that you're telling me your story and the time frame of your accident, it's in November, which is really probably in a week from now. Hashem really, you see, when a miracle happens to us and we survive a miracle, it's actually a good deed, a mitzvah, to share the
Speak
miracle,
about it. Correct.
because it shows that good things happen. We
You
always hear
know,
stories that are
you said
bad and
something-
scary. You are a
you
miracle.
said, can I just add on to what you said? I'm sorry for cutting you off. Not only is it a miracle, I'm sorry, not only is it a mitzvah, but it's a merit. If you spread miracles, miracles will continue like karma type thing. You speak about miracles, it'll come back to you as more miracles happen to you. So, yes, you're right, and this is why I wrote the book about miracles. So people like you yourself will read it, miracles will come about.
So you were in rehab for a while. You finally are here today. Baruch Hashem, everything is good, healthy, well, walking, talking, like a real miracle. A guy, like you got hit by a car. Nobody knew what was going to happen to you. And you're here and you're telling your story. And I'm sure people that are watching are really, really feeling so inspired by your story. But you're saying there was more than this story. Is there another story that's even going to top this story? Because I'm very curious to hear it.
I wouldn't say top. I would say every story has its own 100%. Um, it's so crazy. All of my car accidents happened in November.
Another one?
All of my car accidents that I've been through that threatened my life happened in November. And my wife, both my daughters, were born on November.
Wow.
So I don't know what is it about this month. They say that November is the month where there's no holidays in it. That's why it's called Mar Cheshvan, the bitterness of the month of Cheshvan, which is this month.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it is bitter, yet miraculous after miraculous after miraculous events just continues to happen to me in this month. I don't know why. I wasn't even born in this month. I was reborn in
Wow.
this month. Want to hear another
Somebody
crazy
asked,
story?
what's the name of your book? I just want to answer her. The name of your book is
An
called,
average day. It's the reason why I named it an average day is because the point of the book is that people live on an average day. They didn't plan on this craziness story happen to them, and something miraculous happens to them that day, which is should have been quoted an average day. And another miracle story that happened to me on November, um, I'm driving home. I think it was from a bar mitzvah or something, and it was a time when the speed limit was not 25, it was like 35. So I was doing five over the speed limit, which is 40. So 40 was a normal at that time, normal speed limit to drive. As I'm driving, there's a guy parked, made a complete illegal U-turn, and here I am trying to avoid him, didn't avoid him, hit him in the back of his car. Because I hit him, my car bounced off into half of a parked car and the other half into a telephone pole.
Hmm.
So when I impacted that telephone pole, I saw it shaking, rocking back and forth, deciding whether I should fall on this kid's car or whether I should fall on the house in front of me, not knowing the damage it can cause on that house. Maybe a person sleeping in that room. I don't know what's gonna happen. And I was watching, and you know what's crazy is that how human bodies work. The psychological of the human body is that when you fear something, what we see in the movies, people just run away. It's not the case. You just freeze up, you tense up, and you don't know what to do. I don't know why it works that way, but I froze and I couldn't move. As hard as I tried to exit my vehicle, I couldn't move. And I was just watching this pole decide my face. What ended up happening was, according to the lining of the telephone wires, it made a complete turn and fell up against the whole sidewalk. My car completely totaled. The fire department came and said, "How is this even possible? You hit, it falls forward, but for you it hit, and I don't know why, according to the wiring, whatever it was, that's the best explanation that we have. You didn't die." And at my car accident when I was 9 years old, I wasn't supposed to. I wasn't supposed to. They weren't. I was, according to nature, I was not supposed to see a normal lifestyle afterwards, limping or not being able to learn properly. And it's like, and those times when these things happened to me, I wasn't religious. And when my grandparents died at a young age, I told myself, how many more times does God need to slap me in the face for me to wake up and say, that's it? I submit myself to you. And
What was the first thing you did? So when you
first
had
thing
that
that
thought process that I want to submit myself to you, so what did you do? Where did you start?
very interesting, the first thing I did, I called all of my friends to make whoever I didn't call him, sorry, whoever was a bad influence to me or whoever is a bad influence, I just completely cut them out. Sorry, I'm changing my life and you cannot be involved in this change. I lost a lot of friends.
Mhm.
They kind of bugged out on me. I don't know if I made a Chilul Hashem or a Kiddush Hashem, but some of them took it the wrong way. Other people took it the right way, but I told them this is what I had to do. Don't hit me up anymore. Don't ask me to come out with you anymore. And maybe my Facebook friends went from 4,000 to like 1,000 just to get rid of all of those people from my life. People who just constantly post of club over here, bar over there, hit me up for free tickets, like those kind of people just out, out, out. And that's the first thing I did because I definitely knew that as much change as I want to be, that temptation will always be there. So the first place I hit was at that temptation X, no more. And then I went and I used the first book I read in my life. And I'm gonna give him props till the day I die. Was a person, Rabbi Kaikov. Probably not listening to me. Probably has no idea that this is
Which
happening.
Krakow? Which one? What's the first name?
Rabbi Yehoshua Kaikov from Brooklyn.
Uh-huh.
And my age introduced me to something called Me'am Loez. And since then, I was hooked on this book, and it got me really like delved into what the Chumash, what the Bible is all about. And I went from that book to the next, to the next, to the next, and I just began to realize how there's no way in hell this book can be written by any person. It has to be by God. And if God wrote it, the person, not I shouldn't say person, but the one who made me, created me, and guides me throughout the day, why would I be on his bad side? There is no such protection that I need other than his. There is no such answer I need other than his Torah. So I continued reading and I continued learning, and I went from book after book. If I show you my library, you flip out. And
I
there's
would love
only
to
more
see it.
coming.
Wow.
It's hundreds of books. I gave away hundreds, and I keep getting hundreds. I got into a fight with my wife at one point
Hmm.
until I explained to her, "Do not take this away from me.
That's
Don't take this
amazing.
away from me. I need
That's
this.
amazing.
This is what made me who I am today."
Wow.
So she like expects a book to come in the mail every once a week, at least, just so I can have it, so I can go back to it, I can read it. And I only read English books because I just became religious. I don't really understand Hebrew as well as I understand English. So just that alone is a big accomplishment, because just because you don't understand the language of the Torah does not make you, doesn't give you no hope.
When you
Many
were
brothers,
becoming religious, I'm assuming your parents and your siblings, were they religious or not?
it was a kind of a group effort by everybody. However, everybody in the family went on their own pace. Some took longer than others. Some are still trying to get there. Some are already there. But nobody pressured anybody else. You just do what you got to do. But as long as you know your end goal, at least that. And there was a lot of tears shed, a lot of pressure, a lot of nerve wracking. But we just kept focused on the end goal and just get there. Doesn't matter how you get there, just get there.
You're
And
bringing up
everybody
so
knows
many
it.
important points today. First of all, I love when you said when you wanted to make the change, the first thing you decided to do was cut ties with anybody that can now like prevent, like, we have an idea. I'm a big believer. If there's an idea, you got to jump on the idea before that idea leaves you. So you jumped on it. You're like, if there's any bad influences, I got to cut them off because I don't want them to stop me from that goal that I have. I think that's
And
powerful, because especially now, if anybody that's watching, and that's why I was asking how, what was the support system you're having about your family? Were they the same? Were they religious? Were they not religious? Not that it's about religion per se, but sometimes, there are people that are watching right now and they may feel the same way you feel. It's like, what's my purpose in life? Like, I see things happening, one after another, and I'm sure God is sending me a message like, wake up. He's like talking to me indirectly, but they like don't know. They're afraid kind of to start from somewhere. And I'm so happy you said that you had to start from that point of, I have to look at my surroundings, I have to look at my influences, and that's the first thing we have to do. It's filter our surroundings and our influences, and anybody who doesn't allow us to fulfill our purpose in this world by being a stumbling block. That doesn't mean you have to hate somebody. It means you have to form boundaries. How much are you going to hang out with them? What kind of relationships are you going to have? And I think that's important. Somebody asked, where can they get this book? And I know you said something to the viewers of the show today before we went on live. You mentioned you were going to do something. So where can they get this book?
so this is specifically for people of the show, our viewers tonight, that if anybody reaches out to me or you from your show, I'm willing to give this book out to them for free. If they're local, I will even hand deliver it to them. If they're local, of course. If not, I'll ship it out, and just pay for the shipping, whatever it is the shipping will cost. And just so that we can spread the love together, all of you said you wanted to write a book, all of
I
my
would love to
resources,
write a book.
all of my resources of how to write a book is in the book.
Oh, yeah?
Just read the book from front to cover. All my resources are there, who I used, how to contact them, and everything in that aspect. However, a person needs to write a book, it's all there. And this is literally not because I'm trying to make money off it, though it retails at $20. Probably most of the books that I gave away was for free, or maybe $7 cost price.
Look how many people want your book, and you're getting busy. Everybody wants your book. I see a lot of comments coming in. That's amazing.
I could have charged for gas also, right?
Too late for that now. Maybe I'll be like, come to my house and pick it up at this point. There's a lot of people that want your book. That's, I'm telling you again, when I see, not that I love everybody who writes a book, it's great. But when I see a Bukhari guy, Yoshua Joshua Baturov, on a like a hardcover of a book, I don't know. It just gives me so much pride to know that, wow, like that is such an accomplishment. It's a really big deal for somebody to say, I have a goal, and that is to write a book. Because there's a lot that goes into this. There's editing. You got to call the company. Where is it going to get published? How much is it going to get published? What's the cover going to look like? What's the title going to be like? It is the dedication, and you are a dedicated man. And I'm so like, wow, I'm sure I'm inspired by your stories tonight. And I can say with confidence, you have inspired a lot of people tonight with all your stories, with this whole show that we have tonight. Such a positive vibe. I'm so happy that you agreed to do the show. And if anybody has any questions while we're still live for Yehoshua, he can answer if you have any questions about anything else that we didn't cover. He is a teacher. He teaches 4th grade. And if you have any questions about like certain things when it comes to teaching, I'm sure he can try his best to answer while we're live also. And I have his name on the show, so you can always feel free to reach out to him. Let's see, Marina Baruchov. It is a big deal to write a book. I have been thinking to write a book. Second. And that's a great inspiration to go ahead with. Wow, I agree. That's what I'm saying. It is a really, really big deal to write a book. So really, kudos to you. That's awesome.
I actually had the thought of writing this book 3 years ago, but 3 years ago I was in a very big predicament in my life of getting a full-time job, supporting my family. I just got married almost 5 years ago. January will be my 5th year. And once COVID hit, no work, just stay home, and that's when I completed the book during my quarantine.
So I think this book is about stories, right? There's stories here.
It's inspirational stories from myself personally and a lot of people around me who just want to share the miraculous events that happen in their life on their average days. They woke up, they're gonna go to wherever it is, work, school, and then something crazy happened that was a life changer for them, and they share that story because we all go through it. We all go through life changing moments. The question is, how many of us will actually recognize it as a life changing event that happened to us? And
the story here, moments before death. You write a story, right? Moments before death. I have to look into this one. This sounds like a very interesting story. I can't wait to hear that one. And somebody asked, what was the purpose of you writing this book? What was the purpose? What were you trying to gain?
I'm trying to, okay, so like I said earlier today, I said that I'm trying to, if a person mentions the miracles that happen to them, to other people, that kind of like brings that energy back to continues having miracles to them. So I said to myself, and this was written during COVID, at this point, the generation is on its knees begging for salvation. The only thing that can get us out of where we are is a clear miracle. If I spread my miraculous stories to the world, miracles will probably shower them. And that's what I wanted. I just wanted for people to begin to realize, open your eyes to see what a miracle is, even if it's as simple as planting a seed in the ground and a tree grows out. That alone is a miracle. The only problem is we're just too used to it. But it's a miracle. On an average day, miracles happen, and we do not need to see to split for us. I just want to make this clear to the viewers. Stop waiting for the day the sea splits for you. It's not going to happen. And if it does happen, it will not make anybody more religious than they were before. It will not. Open miracles does nothing to us. As you may see in the whole Sefer Shemot, book of Exodus, one open miracle after another, and the Jews were still complaining. Complaining? What, are you serious? If that will happen to me, I wouldn't even say a beep. That's not true. It had happened to you countless of times, and you're still complaining today. We are no different than the complainers back then. We still complain. If a miracle happens to you and you had to figure out that it was a miracle, the appreciation of that will be 10 times greater. And you will say, God, I see, despite all of this, you still love me. How can I still complain? That's why every morning we say, Moda ani lefanecha. We say that, thank you, Hashem, for returning back my soul to me. We say that before we even wash our hands to remove the purity out of our hands. That's why God's name is not in that prayer.
Yeah.
That the reason why God's name is not in that prayer is because your hands are still impure. But the Chachamim, the sages, understood that it's still very important to say it right after you wake up. The moment you open your eyes to the moment you go wash your hands to remove that impurity from your hands, you're saying thank you for giving me back my soul, and you're thanking him for a miracle that happened to you, because age does not guarantee your life anymore. Just because a person is 30 does not mean they will see another day. It's not a guarantee. It used to be that way. It used to be, oh, I'm only 30, I'm only 40, I'm only 20. It used to be that way. Not anymore. We live in an age, and I ask this question to my children, to my talmidim, to my students. How many boys here know somebody your age that died? I expected 2 kids to raise their hands. It turned out that 11 kids raised their hands. Out of 23, 11 raised their hands. I was shocked. You know kids who died your age? And they were like, yeah, we all know kids who died our age. And I was about to cry.
Scary.
And I told them, there's no guarantee no matter what age you are. So you have to thank God that you are here another day. You're here to see another day. Thank you. And as days progress, things will happen, challenges will happen. It hurts and it's painful. And it's crazy. Out of all challenges I went through in my life, it's the death of my grandparents that woke me up. And why out of all challenges, that's what woke me up? It woke me up to a point to share my awakening to others, because I know that everybody is bound to the rules of death. Everybody at one point got to deal with it. And if everyone's going to have to deal with it, everybody will one day cry for their loved one. It's a sad reality that we have to live in. There's no immortals. And if that will happen, I want to make sure that I'll be there to tell you that's good that it happened to you. Utilize this challenge to your benefit. And now my grandparents are looking down on me and saying, thank God we died for you to wake up. What else do we need to do for you to wake up out of your garbage?
Wow.
And it came to a point where the people around me, my family, are very proud of me, thank God. The friends around me are like, Joshua, rabbi? No. Joshua wrote a book? No way. It came to that point where people are just shocked. And it's nothing that I'm trying to do to make anything different in my life. I just want to read, to open my eyes. And it just so happened to be that people like what I have to say, and they just stick with it, and they follow through. They sponsor the book, or they donate for my shirim that I make, or they hire me for the job, even though I'm underqualified, but they hire me for the job of being a rabbi of the 4th grade, knowing that you will make an impression on these kids.
That's beautiful.
And it works. And it works. It's all because of what my grandparents told me. Invest in yourself and everything else will go suit. Do not rely on anybody else to find your happiness. Though it's the easy way out, it's not always the case. And as a Bukharian, I'm coming from Brooklyn, where religion in Brooklyn was just a walk in the park. Everybody's religious, more or less everybody's religious around me. The Syrian community, the Hasidic community, you have the Israeli community. You don't have a Bukharian community. We live among those other communities. When I got married and moved to Queens, and I thought, like, what's going on here? This is how my Bukharians are going to behave themselves? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was so shocked. And that's when I made it a responsibility to be that Bukharian, to show other Bukharians that we have a lot of power. Bukharians is that one culture that has so much to offer to the world. It's incredible. I don't know what it is about us. We're just survivors. We probably are the oldest culture out of all cultures in Judaism. And I don't know how we got to the point to not only survive communist Russia, but to flourish while they're still trying to survive. Our neighbors who are in communist Russia, not only they are trying to survive, but we are actually surviving and flourishing. Unbelievable the amount of houses that I've seen that looks like mansions on 108 Street.
You know, when I go to work, I don't work in a Jewish environment. And as soon as I hear, like in the background, like a patient who's seeing a different doctor, and I hear their last name, or we have a pharmacy representative that comes, when you hear a Bukharian last name, and you've never seen each other, it's almost like you're my brother, you're my sister. Like, yeah, we've got that, you know, we got that connection. It's like the smile on our faces because we like when we see each other in places where we don't expect to see each other, there's such like achdus, there's such unity, there's such like brother and sisterhood involved. You're right, we are survivors and we're very, very resilient. We are a culture and a community that is strong, that is capable, that is so bright and smart. And I'm so proud to be in a Bukharian community. I'm so proud to see other Bukharians, youth, especially the young generation who's flourishing, who's advancing, who's writing books, who's becoming, you know, who's finishing and getting educated, building houses, building hospitals. I mean, we are doing amazing, amazing things. And I see their comments coming in. Somebody said over here, I'm not sure if we're going to have time to talk for this topic, but briefly, since the question was asked, what are your thoughts on how to help our community who are dealing with substance abuse? So from the perspective of a Rebbe, very briefly, because you see, I feel like the Rebbes of our generation, the teachers, especially when the students are difficult. And back in the days when we had difficult students, I don't think teachers would call the parents. They would somehow deal with these children. Nowadays, again, I don't know your style, but from what I'm seeing with my own children, if you have any child who is quote unquote ADD, behavioral issues, misbehaves, right away there's a label, there's a title, we call the parent, we get the principal involved. God forbid to have a child who doesn't behave. And I actually feel like because you're a Rebbe and you have this responsibilities as to say with these children, your interaction with them is definitely something important, especially in their further in their life, which will prevent them from going to substances because sometimes trauma can help that, can cause that down the road. So from your perspective, what can we do to eliminate, or what do you think about this concept of substance abuse?
I didn't want to go there tonight. It actually really hits me really deep inside, not because I know somebody who OD'd or abused. Thank God, I don't know anybody like that. But only because when I hear a last name that ends with an OV or an EV that OD'd on drugs, I feel like some sort of responsibility that I just lost a potential client. Not a client who pays, but a client that can change the world. Like you and I, Yocheved, I consider us as to be soldiers of Hashem. Mm-hmm. And we lost a potential one, somebody from our team. So before getting this job, I told myself that nobody in my class is going to OD on drugs. Because I feel that it's important, and I don't know their situation. We don't know their situation. We don't even know how they started. Obviously, they didn't start on how they died. Right. Probably started small somewhere. We obviously cannot blame them. They made wrong choices. We all make wrong choices. Some kill, some don't. Some you can revive from. Some stays with you. Some choices kill. Had they had that Rebbe, that parent, that motivator, that influence at a young age, they probably would have been a better person today. Had that one kid that told him, just try the cigarette one time, it won't kill you. My dad smoked cigarettes for 70 years, he's still going on. If I was there, probably would have changed. Or if a Rebbe was there, it probably would have changed. Or just a motivator, an influence. Doesn't have to be religious. Just somebody to guide him. I'm not gonna say that it's too late. It's never too late. So as long as a person is breathing, it's not too late. But if we just kind of take our focus to the youth and to bring them up as not religious. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about just to be passionate about life as to why will I harm myself? I want to see more of me, just to be passionate of life. Then they themselves would be in a situation where they can't take that drugs and no one around them will know, but they wouldn't do it because they are just simply passionate about life. Again, nothing to do with religion. Religion is just a bonus. It's just being a passionate person about life itself. Why would I want to kill myself, harm myself? Why? I want to see my grandchildren grow, even though they're not even close to being married. But I want to live to a point where I can walk down my grandchild. If they have this mentality, we probably will see this whole drug thing just fade away on its own.
They have a purpose, yeah.
Just to give them a purpose at a very young age and let them live with that purpose. I asked all my friends before I took this fourth grade. I was very nervous about taking this job. I didn't want to take it. My wife pushed me forcefully to take the job. I didn't feel like I fit in the criteria of a fourth grade Rebbe. What does that even mean? Because I was a businessman before this. I was in real estate. I was barbering. I was a pharmacy technician. I was in business, investing in stocks. What do you mean sit down and teach? But she pushed me to do it. And I asked all my friends around me, like, they want me to be a fourth grade teacher. Does it even, do you even remember your fourth grade? Is what I
Mhm.
asked them. And every one of my friends told me everything that happened in that year. I remember my teacher, he was like this, he was like that. I wish he would have been like this. I wish I would have had friends like this. And I'm just saying, like, it's crazy how much you remember in fourth grade. It makes me feel like if I just inspire these fourth grade kids, they'll remember me for the rest of my life. And I'm, of course, I'm not trying to be haughty or
Right.
I'm not trying to show that I'm selling myself. I'm not doing any of that. I just want to show these kids that I'm not so far away from you. I'm not so far. I've been there literally yesterday. I was your age literally yesterday. I'm not so far away. I remember my fourth grade clearly too. My whole car accident happened exactly at your age, coming up.
You're so
And
passionate, like you talk from such passion and emotion, and they say words that come from the heart enter the heart, and your words are really coming from the heart. You, there's so much, like you really truly come across as somebody who cares so much about the neshama, about the soul, about the well-being of another person. And I really commend you for that. I think that the fourth graders that have you in their life, you are going to be a teacher that they're going to walk away with, and they're going to say, Rabbi Baturov taught us this. And if, like, you're going to leave that impression. And that's what I said before. You spend more time with these children than their parents do. And I'm so happy to see a Rebbe truly care for his students. Like, that is such, and I think all the parents that have you as a teacher of their boys or girls, you teach boys, correct?
only boys, yes.
Oh, boys, they're very, very lucky to have you. And wow, like, you really, the emotions you have when you speak, it's so admirable. Like, you really are such a genuinely nice person to talk to. I just think I see a comment here that came in. I just want to read it. My husband. I see that it mostly happens with young boys. I would say that dads need to spend more time with their sons from the day they are born. What do you think about that? About dads and spending time with their kids?
1,000%. 1,000%. As you said earlier today, that you're a young kid, but you have elderly wisdom because of my grandparents. My parents, of course, not their fault, came here when they were very young, had to go to work just to make ends meet. And they weren't really around us kids growing up so often as we would hope they would, only because They just try to make ends meet to give us lives that they never had. So they would shove us in their parents' house, who were pretty much home for the most part. And that was then. The generation today, most of our work comes from our phones and our laptops. Most of our work. And if I have to, of course, I'm saying it humbly to parents. I don't know your situations, but if I have to give any parent's advice, and I'm only a parent of two beautiful children, just turned 1, just turned 3. Birthday party was like literally recently,
So cute.
and it's still up there. so 3 years old and 1 year old, and I put in so much of my time to these girls because if a kid will grow up knowing, and this is exactly what happened to my wife. If a kid grows up knowing that I do not want my parents to feel disappointed at me, it's probably the worst feeling knowing that my parents are disappointed at me. And if the only way that will happen is if a kid will see that my parents invested in me so much, and I continuously remind my students how your parents feel when you come home with an 100 or when you come home with a 0 on your test. They put in so much, paid so much, and yeshiva public school is free. But they decided to take out from their paycheck to pay a couple of $1,000s for your yeshiva, for you to come back with a 0. If kids will know how much parents invest in them, they will just do the right thing just so they should not feel disappointed. And I just want to rest assured, I don't know the situation of any parent, of course, but if we just put the phone down while the kid speaks, that alone is a big deal for a kid. When a kid talks to a parent while the parent is on their phone, it gives the wrong impression on this kid, because it's like I can just literally say whatever I want, and my dad will never hear me. And for all you know, the kid is probably cursing, but the parent will never actually take notice of that. And this is the reason, and this is the generation we live in, the generation of our phones, of our laptops, of distraction. Distraction from what? From what's most important. Because the upper powers know, the Yetzer Hara is what I'm talking about. The evil inclination knows, if I distract this person from the bigger picture, he will then run after the most smallest pictures, which is so insignificant, and the greater things will just run under his nose. And when he wakes up, it'll be too late. Like what you and I mentioned before, there are choices we make in lives that we can come back to as if it never happened. Choices it comes in life that will scar us, like a bad reputation, but then there are choices in life that will kill us. And we as people don't know what choices we make. We can take drugs not knowing it'll kill us. We can smoke cigarettes not knowing eventually it'll kill us. But that's how the Yetzer Hara works. Slowly by slowly, drop by drop, I will take your soul. And when I do that, you will know about it, but there's nothing you can do about it, because I grasped on you.
Powerful.
And before that happens, people like me, people like you, we need more influencers to influence the youth. We need more people to get up and say, I have what to share to the world. We cannot rely on our rabbis to do that for us anymore. Those days are over. We are now the rabbis of our generation. As we all may know, the previous generation had an unbelievable amount of rabbis. The previous generation before that, continuously had crazy rabbis that a person will not move any way if the rabbi said no, or if the rabbi said yes. But as you also may see, one great tzaddik dies after another, and there's nobody taking their place. It now came to a point where people like you and I, we become like the quote unquote rabbis. We don't need a license. We don't need no education background. We just need to be, like I said, passionate about life, and to tell other people about the passion of life. That you can be as passionate as me. Just come. That's it. Just listen to what I have to say.
Join this mission of empowering other people, right? Just be
Right.
a part of it. We need, like, it's like the Maccabim on Hanukkah. Who wants to stand up for Hashem? Like, that's what it is. Like, if you have what it takes to just, make a difference. It doesn't matter. I'm a rabbi, I'm a rebbitzin, I'm a simple person, I'm just an educator. If we all get up together as a unified community and say, I am here to contribute to my society. I want to give back. I want to help my brothers and sisters. I want to inspire somebody with a miraculous story like you did today. I want to go out there and maybe make a Sunday program for our kids and teach them art or teach them alphabet because they don't have the ability to go to a yeshiva like other kids. If we all will volunteer some part of our life, like right now, we're volunteering some part of our life on the platform like this, having a show. If we all do that united, everybody just utilizes their own talent to inspire others. We're going to be so busy doing good deeds that we won't even have the time to let our mind wander and take us on the wrong path. I think that's very, very powerful what you said, and we are closing up, but I see there was one comment here. There's so many amazing comments. By the way, a few of your parents of students that you teach are watching, and they're commending you and complimenting and saying how lucky they are that that they feel because you are their son's teacher. So they are very, very happy with you. Joe Levy, spending quality time with kids, and most of all, giving and showing them love is very important. Unfortunately, many Bukharian parents rebuke and yell at their kids 90% more than give love and positivity, and that's very dangerous.
That's That's I didn't want to speak about that as well. I'm humbled to be a parent, and growing up, you can say that you can agree with me, and maybe all your peers can agree with me as well. That's how our parents raised us, yelling. We have this Bukharian backhand, typical Bukharian remain, tapachki, right? That's how we were raised. And look at us, we turned out to be okay. If they did it to us, we can probably do it to them, right? Of course, I'm not trying to give any parents any advice how to do it with their kids. They do them, let them do them. But I'm just trying to give a little bit of advice of that, how the generation changed. Me, I don't know, I'm not sure how old you are, I'm not asking, but I'm pretty sure you lived a life of no phones, no laptops, and somewhere in your life moved into phones and laptops.
Yeah.
Same as
I got
me.
my first phone when I was engaged.
When you were engaged. Okay, so I was pretty much like seven, not even eight, like 19, 20 when I got my first iPhone 2 with the white back.
Mine was a Motorola, a flip.
Oh, flip, nice.
And I used to
So
love like texting on that flip phone. I knew the letters. It was like the coolest thing. It was the coolest gadget.
right, and there's like
And
those
beepers were in style too back in the days.
yeah. So we grew up with beepers, printers, but because because we lived those both lives, we can see the shift of the mentality of the children we have today. And when they smell fear, it just automatic shut off, automatic shut off. And and yes, as people like you and I, we survived the critical upbringing of our parents because we were born bred like survivors and killers. But our kids are not like that anymore. Weak mentality, self-conscious. They don't know who they are anymore, why they're here. And if a parent actually sits with their kid and asks them what's going on in their life, they will blur out worlds of universes to you. Things that are shocking, like what are you dealing with in your life? I cannot believe this is what you talk about. And if any parent wants to have this time with their kid, do it right before they go to sleep. In their most vulnerability time when they will open up, just ask them 5 minutes of your day. Can you just tell me how your day went today? They will feel a little bit awkward. I'm not telling my mom, my dad. But as they speak, and I always tell my students, just start with one word and everything else will blur out. I assigned an assignment with them. I assigned homework with them. They don't know what to do. I'm afraid I don't know. It's a homework overwhelming. Just do one word and it will blur out. Same thing with the parents to a kid. Tell me how your day went. I did homework. What else? How was your homework? What did you think about it? And just slowly by slowly, it will come out. And they will tell you about worlds you've never even thought existed when you were that age. And they're dealing with it at their age. And they become, and we all always ask this question, is like, why are kids growing up so fast? It's because they are all born with phones that force them to grow up so fast.
They're growing up
We,
way before their time, where in the past we used to go to bathrooms and there was pictures of, this is a men's bathroom, this is a ladies' bathroom. Now feel free to choose. I want to be a man today. So I'm going to just walk into the men's bathroom at any given time, no questions asked, and there is my little fourth grader having a private moment, and in comes me because I chose to be a man today. So the kind of society that we're, living in is actually a very, very difficult society for our children. So
we
imagine what they're
surviving it.
what they're dealing with.
Right, right. Like you say, exactly. We are surviving that because we know that life and this life. We choose that life. They never had what we had. So they're brought into this world of you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. You don't need to listen to the parents. You can call the cops on the parents. You don't need to listen to the rebellion. You do whatever you want. Don't tell me what to do. How dare you take away my phone? And there's nothing we can do about it.
We accept everybody. We teach our kids to accept everybody. We teach our kids to love everybody. But we also have to understand that we are living, like you said, in a different generation. That's why it is even more important, because things don't make sense even to us as adults. We just teach them to love, to accept. People are different. And that's why we communicating with our kids is so much more important than them communicating with the world and getting information from outsiders. They have to get information from us as the parents, because we are going to guide them in the right path and teach them what they really need to hear. This
Yeah.
was so, so amazing. I am so happy we got a chance to make this live today. For the last minute people, this book written by Yehoshua Joshua Baturov, the man you see right here on your screen, who is willing to contribute. Anybody that wants this book, who is part of the show today and wants a copy of this book, where he talks about his own personal miracles and miracles of other people that wrote to him, reach out to him and he will, if you're local, hand deliver your copy and autograph it for you, sign it for you. So I think that's really nice of you to have offered that. Somebody says put the book on Amazon. Who knows? Maybe it's there.
It's not there. I chose it not to be there. Maybe my books in the future will be on there, but the reason why I chose it not to be there is because I want this book for my local Bukharians around me to have it. So that's why I even chose, I will hand deliver it to you. Just read it. Word to mouth. Word to mouth. My word to mouth is just locals. I want my local people around me, my neighbors, to read it. That's who I'm interested. That's who the dynamics who I'm reaching. Amazon will take me to people who live in Wyoming or Tennessee, and I'm not interested about those people. They will learn about me in tens of years from now. Right now, because of what the situation we're in right now as a Bukharian community, we need to stand up. And I'm putting my life on the line. I'm putting my investment, despite my family here, I'm putting my life on the line as a soldier of God to commit to the community that I am here to help. Anybody who needs any questions, any just advice, or just someone to talk to, just a friend, I am open to be that person. Man, woman, anyone alike. Dealing with something, I will help you. I want to help you. I do not charge you. I will not try to take money from you. Anybody who
Wow.
wants to throw money at me, I will tell them invest in my projects. If you really want to pay me, just this is just I'm trying to offer myself as somebody who can help you you can help me as well. All Bukharians need to do this. Any Bukharian who is just simple as just married, the good that happened to them, share that love with other people. It's a great thing to be married. Or any Bukharian who simply has a car and knowing other people don't have a car. It's a great thing to have a car, just something so everybody in their own capacity. Everybody in their own capacity, just share goodness. Stop posting it on Facebook and start telling it to people. Word to mouth. It becomes just a community effort. We are probably the oldest culture. I want to remain to be the oldest culture, meaning I don't want to ever stop this culture.
It's not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere. People like you and I will keep it here. We have to continue to spread. I do not want to see another kid on my Facebook feed who died because we just never made it to him. I don't want to see this anymore. Complete shock when I moved out here. Complete shock. And Mirta Hashem, my kids will grow up. My kids will grow up to a normal community.
Reach out to us. Wow, I do events, host events, do speaking engagements. Yoshua does speaking engagements, and he's part of events as well. So if you need anything like that, feel free. Jenna, where did I find this gem? She's asking. His wife found him. So,
Yeah.
so his wife found him. She's there. If she wants to say hello, feel free to come and say hello so we know. You know, I have to say, behind every great man, there's a great woman. So there is a great woman sitting there somewhere, inspiring you and giving you the courage to say, if you need me, I am here to talk. There she is, listening and saying, I am ready to give my husband away to society, take away from the children and myself in order to help others. So I'm going to clap for your wife. A big shout out to such an amazing Eshet Chayil who is supporting her husband in the mission, who's there for him, because you know what? That's amazing. When there's partnership in a marriage and you support one another and you're there for one another, this is when great things can happen. And I am so happy to see that you have found your partner in life, which is blessing you and giving you the ability to continue to do what your mission is, to continue to do what you're so passionate about. I'm so honored to have met you, to have had you on the show. Does she want to say hello?
Okay.
There you go. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Nice to meet the woman behind this great man. So a lot of people are so inspired by his story, and you're a true Eshet Chayil for being there with him. And I know you're a teacher as well. So what a great couple, really putting effort and educating our youth. And it's such an important job that you have. So it was an honor to have had this show today with your husband. He really inspired a lot of people, and I'm sure he's gonna be very busy for the next few days reading a lot of comments. It's gonna be addicting. So get prepared. He's gonna be very busy, and people really loved him, and I'm sure he's going to be very busy. And I really hope to see you do more, of course, with your wife's help and support, more for our community. We should see you more. Go out there, spread the light, and continue helping the way you're helping right now. It was truly an honor and a pleasure tonight.
Amen. And thank you for inviting us to your show. Really, truly humbling feeling to have us speak at your show, your great show. And you're doing a great job as well. May you only continue with your family as well to flourish, to spread the love, so that you not only have the love, but to maintain that love and to continue to spread it through your platform, again, in your capacity.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. What's your name? I didn't get your name.
Ariella Chaya.
Ariella Chaya, beautiful name. Good night, Yehoshua and Ariella Chaya. Good luck with everything. You should only have nachat, and happy birthday to your children.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night to everybody, all the watchers here. Thank you for your support.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this video to be helpful, please share it with others. Bye-bye.
Bye.